Fire Sword, Chapter 11, The Mila Tree, Part the First. The trip to the massive tree took nearly a month after Klein and Inigo joined up. With a start of surprise, Kazuto realized that he and his family had been in this world for nearly 4 months now. It somehow didn't seem all that long to him, as compared to the 2 years of anguish that he had spent in Aincrad. Then again, he thought as he looked at the sleeping woman in his arms, this world was far more enjoyable with his wife beside him. The couple was in their tent as the sun was beginning to rise on the day where they would attack the Mila tree. For perhaps the first time since their first night together, Kazuto was awake while his wife slept peacefully beside him. He smiled as she mumbled and shifted in her sleep, wondering what she might be dreaming about. Stroking her soft hair lovingly, he got up quietly to avoid waking her. He got dressed in his usual black attire, minus his coat, and stepped out into the fresh morning air. He saw his friend, Ryotaru, attending to one of the fires and headed over to talk to him. "Morning," the redhead said with a grin as he saw his friend coming over. Kazuto could never really think of his friend by any other name than Klein. He was just the same inside and outside the virtual world. "How'd you sleep?" "All things considered," Kazuto mumbled. "Pretty good. Although I don't think I'm going to get used to the beds in this world." "I hear that," Klein chuckled as he stretched his back. "Even Aincrad had better places to crash in the field." Kazuto shrugged in response, whereupon Klein grinned and added, "Of course, most of us guys didn't have a hot chick keeping us." He got no further as Kirito slugged him in the stomach, causing him to double over, gasping for breath. "Oh, come on," Kazuto said as his friend writhed in the dirt. "I thought you'd have learned not to make comments like that about Asuna and me. You should have at least seen that coming." "You'd have thought," Klein groaned as he got up. "Come on, man, seriously?" Kazuto sighed as he sat down on a log. "How are you ever going to get a girlfriend if you keep acting like that all the time?" I don't know," Klein muttered as he took a seat. "Maybe having a girlfriend just isn't for me." "Wait, Klein," Kazuto said as he looked hard at his friend. "You're not even, dude." Klein grinned. "It's just, I don't know. How did you know Asuna was the right one? How did she know you were the right one?" Kazuto grinned slightly, remembering having a similar conversation with Robin a few weeks ago. "Well, for her, she says it was when she first noticed how I was able to make the most out of life, even in Aincrad. For me, it was when I saw her fighting as hard as she could to save me from that bastard Kura deal. Figures it'd be something related to swords for you." Klein sighed. "What can I say?" Kazuto smiled. "Once a swordsman, always a swordsman." "That's fair." Klein nodded. "In any case, any ideas on how to get us home?" "The best thing I can think of so far is to somehow jack up the power levels on one of those teleport staffs to try and send us home with it," Kazuto shrugged. "The obvious drawback is there's no way of knowing if that would work. Also, I have no idea how to feed the staff any more energy yet." "Well, it's a start," Klein sighed. "Although, there is something that's been bothering me for a little while now." "What's up?" "You mentioned that you'd been here for months, right?" Klein asked with a slight frown as he stared into the flames. "Yeah, what about it?" Kazuto asked. "Well, you'd only been missing a few hours when we finally looked in your room," Klein replied. "So now I gotta wonder, how much time will have passed when and if we get back? A few minutes? Or will everyone we know, be gone?" Kazuto gave his friend a blank look for a long moment. Eventually, he managed to say, I don't know. I'll have to think on that one. Maybe Yui can help me figure out how to factor any time shifts into the magic. She understands it way better than I do." "Sounds like a plan," Klein said in response. "And Kirito?" "Yeah, I meant what I said then. After the Gleam Eyes, you've got it pretty good. A lot of people would kill to have a life like yours. Make sure you appreciate it every minute." Kazuto grinned at his oldest friend and said, "You know I will, Klein." The katana warrior smiled back and said, "Good." Kazuto had been sure that Klein was included in helping Robin's planning process in the past month. While Robin's specialty was using the terrain to their advantage, and Kirito was better at planning large group coordination, Klein excelled at looking at the finer details concerning the pairs and small parties that would make up the larger picture. Together, the three of them were able to prepare for nearly any kind of scenario, much to the relief of Crom, who was glad to see his best friend sharing the burden of his work with such capable people. It was during one of these meetings that Cordelia burst into their group, disgruntling the three men as she reported. "The Volmese have a pair of prisoners they are threatening to kill if we advance any further." The others froze with shock and anger. They just got into position to attack, and now something like this had to happen. "Is there anything else?" Robin muttered sourly. "Yes, sir," Cordelia said, shifting uncomfortably. "I may be punished for saying so, but I believe this information is best kept from Lord Crom." "What is it?" Kazuto demanded, impatient to try and find a solution to the new dilemma. "They are saying that one of the two women they are holding is daughter to Lord Crom," Cordelia replied. "If His Highness were to hear of it, he'd charge in without thinking about it." Robin finished with a scowl. "You're right, Cordelia. Dismissed, and keep that last detail to yourself. Tell no one." "Aye, sir." The Pegasus Knight saluted her commanding officer before she left. "So, you really think Crom has a daughter up here?" Kazuto asked. I mean, his daughter would never said anything about... You're wrong, Robin said with a shake of his head. She once told me that she had a younger sister, named Cynthia. According to Lucina, she's a little bit of a loudmouth, and it's highly likely she was bragging about her lineage to her captors without thinking about it. Damn it, Klein muttered. Now we've got a hostage situation here, as if this fight wasn't going to be hard enough. You think you could lead a precision rescue team to get the hostages? Kazuto asked his friend. Robin also looked at Redhead eagerly, hoping for a good answer. In response, Klein rubbed his scraggly attempt at a beard before he answered, shouldn't be too hard as long as I take that Cordelia lady with me to tell me how to get over there, and Sinon to give us some cover fire. Another swordsman or two would also be handy to have in our party. Looking over to Robin, he added, the thing is, I'll need a big distraction, but if they think we're attacking, they'll just kill their prisoners. Robin grinned in response. If you're confident that you can make it to the prisoners and get them out safely, if you have a distraction in place, I can provide that for you, no problem. As long as Kirito thinks he can handle directing the main forces, we should be okay. Kazuto nodded immediately. We've been drilling this plan to perfection for nearly 3 weeks now. I know it backwards at this point. Just tell me what you have in mind and I'll make sure we make it to the Mila tree long enough to make it up to the voice. Robin told him his idea. Kazuto suddenly felt a great deal less confident in how the day would turn out. Klein, on the other hand, had that signature goofy grin of his plastered on his face as he heard the plan. Klein's team ended up consisting of himself, Sinon, Cordelia, Lonku, Owain, and Lisa. Cordelia to act as a guide, Lisa as a healer and cover fire with magic, while Sinon would keep enemies away with her bows and arrows. Owain and Lonku would handle any foot soldiers that managed to make it past the lady's defenses. Owain was positively ecstatic, finally getting a chance to fight beside his father and protect his mother while going on a quest to save a duo of damsels in distress. Lonku wished that his son had inherited some of his more quiet traits, and even more that his wife would not encourage his silliness. Sinon wished that Kirito was going on the mission with her. Not in a romantic fashion, mind you. She had long abandoned any such notions with the Black Swordsman. Now all she wanted was her old partner fighting beside her. Klein felt much the same, but he was too distracted with leading the others to pay any attention to his own wants. Cordelia, of course, wished that she could fight closer to Crom, although she was slowly coming to terms with the fact that he was never going to give her any special attention. To her surprise, just before the mission got underway, she was approached by a katana-wielding warrior, Klein, with a slight smile on his face. Hey there, he said. Good morning, she replied evenly. What was he up to? I just wanted to say thanks for helping out us on this mission, Miss Cordelia, he said as he scratched his red and yellow bandana. I know you could have just shown us how to get there on a map and gone back to fight with the others, so I thought I'd just say thanks before we got underway. You are welcome, Cordelia replied. I believe that a job is best done if you attend to it yourself, so I decided my time would be best today spent assisting you. I have no desire to see anyone, especially a child of the egg salt, harmed by these Volmese dogs. Klein nodded and drew his katana partway from its sheath, checked to make sure that it hadn't acquired any dirt in the last 10 minutes since he checked it. I know what you mean, he said. There are people I'd do anything to protect, people I'd give anything to protect. His eyes wandered back to the command pavilion, where Kazuto stood, talking with Crom. If all was going to plan, he would be telling the prince that 6 of them were going to try and get the jump on the commanding officer, a man named Cervantes. While this was true, he made no mention that one of the general's captives was likely one of his future progeny. Kirito and Asuna, Cordelia said as she moved to stand beside him. How do you see them? What does their friendship mean to you? Klein grinned wryly as he looked at Kirito, hard at work over a map. Kirito's like a great kid brother, he replied honestly. I like looking out for him, and he's got my back too. And since Asuna is his wife, I think of her as a little sister. You could be like a little niece, if I think about it. I envy you, Cordelia murmured. Huh? Klein asked as he turned to the other redhead. What do you mean by that? It's nothing, Cordelia said with a shake of her head, tossing her long, fiery locks all about. Forget I said anything. It's nothing but the ramblings of a fool. And she walked off quickly to attend to her steed. Klein wondered at her reaction, but Owain came up to him, his expression serious for once. Don't take it personal, sir, he said. She had a hard life, even before I came to this time, and life didn't treat her much better in the future. What happened to her? Klein wondered aloud. He didn't realize that he'd spoken aloud until Owain answered him. For starters, her entire group of fellow recruits were murdered in front of her and behind her as she fled to find help, Owain replied. In my timeline, she remained unmarried to her dying day, though it might have helped if she had given up on that obsession with my uncle. His face became a slight grimace as he added the last bit. She'd have suitors lined up for miles otherwise. I can imagine. Klein chuckled, even though a part of his heart felt saddened by that revelation. How could it be that someone so selfless and beautiful should spend all her days alone? Shaking the thoughts off before he started thinking too hard on it, Klein settled into work mode by drawing his sword. All right, gang, he said as he waved to the others. Let's get this show going. Kirito's going to be giving us the signal any moment now. Be ready to move out in 2 minutes. Ready, Lucina? Robin asked as he checked his 11th sword and tomes. Yes, sir, the princess nodded. Good, Robin said as he returned the nod. Oh, could you do me a personal favor? Of course. Lucina replied immediately. Name it, Robin. If your sister makes it out of this alive, make sure to give her a good lecture about talking to strangers. The words were dry, laced with irritation. Lucina's gaze fell, and she said, I'm sorry, Robin. I did not anticipate. She was surprised that Robin stopped her with a gentle finger on her pale lips and a smile on his face. Hey, not your fault, he said. He moved his hand to give her shoulder a gentle squeeze, which seemed to send all the blood in her body rushing up to her face. Fortunately, in the heavy shade of the trees and branches and leaves, Robin couldn't see her rapidly reddening features. Turning away, he removed his grip and said, Now then, let's give these Valmese a surprise they won't forget in a hurry. Lucina could only nod wordlessly in response as she tried to shake the feelings of the tactician's gentle grip on her shoulder. Yet try as she might, the warm sensation continued to hug her shoulder like a small, warm blanket. Dear Naga, Lucina, get a hold of yourself! She screamed at herself. This is no time to be falling in love. Love? Oh, gods, no, this cannot be happening. Ready, guys? Kirito asked as he shouldered his second sword. Yui and Asuna both nodded and showed that their equipment was fully prepped. Good. Let's get the show on the road. With that, he strode out to the soon-to-be battlefield to stand beside Crom. Is everything in place? The prince asked. As ready as it's going to be, Kirito replied confidently. Klein and the others are in position on both ends. We have to wait on Robin and Lucina to get the ball rolling. When Crom gave him a questioning look, Kirito added, We have to wait for them to get things started. The ball rolling? It's just an expression where I come from. Before the prince could open his mouth to reply, a lightning bolt flashed down from one of the lower branches of the Mila tree to strike one of the archers positioned next to General Cervantes, who had just come out to witness the shepherd's surrender. His men looked up and started screaming about the voice and her magics. They began to scatter away from the entrance, much to the anger of their general, but his threats were rather shallow when compared to the powerful lightning spells racing through the sky from the ancient tree. Looking up at the tree, Cervantes scowled as he stroked his giant mustache. Turning to his right-hand officer, he ordered, Execute the prisoners in front of the shepherds. I am certain they're responsible for this. Aye, sir, the other man replied. He turned with the intention of carrying out his mission, but he was suddenly knocked backwards by a fire spell. Cervantes whirled to see a number of warriors confronting him, many of them absurdly young. Klein grinned a trifle darkly as he advanced a couple of steps and said, Here the reports said that you never lost a battle fair and square. I guess you're just another jerk that'll take the cheap shot to get what you want. He raised his katana to attack. The others did the same, three of the former prisoners now armed with their jailer's weapons. One of them, a girl with twin pigtails of a blue coloring, stepped forward while brandishing a spear. You're about to learn what it means to mess with one of the bloodlines of the Exalts, she cried. Get ready for a new world of hurt! Her companion, a girl with short black hair and dark blue eyes, raised another katana above her head in a two-handed grip without a word. In this situation, half abandoned by his men already and confronted by nearly a dozen capable-looking warriors, Cervantes made the only logical choice he could. Shoot them! He roared at the archers that had stayed at their stations. Now! Before a single shot could be fired, another archer was smote with a lightning bolt from above. If you value your lives, you will leave this hallowed ground and never return. A powerful, yet quite clearly female voice called down from the trees. If you harm another soul here, General Cervantes, I, Tiki, daughter and voice of Naga, will smite you where you stand. Do not test my patience. Cervantes hesitated, knowing that his troops were looking to him for leadership and direction on what to do. But to be honest, he had no idea what he was going to tell them. He had never been threatened by the representative of a goddess before. Unnoticed by him, the blue-haired spear wielder also looked confused. Why in the world is Lucy pretending to be Lady Tiki, she wondered. Looks like you got two options, pal, Klein said as he saw the confusion on Cervantes' face. Surrender or die where you stand. The general's face turned bright crimson and a vein bulged on his forehead. He opened his mouth and prepared to deliver his answer at the top of his lungs.